Brilliance Audio presents More Than Anything by Natasha Anders, performed by Ingeborg Rietmeyer. In a family filled with overachieving, beautiful people, Tina was the disappointment. Her parents had often lamented, out loud and right in front of her, how very much Tina's lack of ambition and talent in any field whatsoever distressed them. Tina had come to dread all family functions because every comment aimed at her tended to start, "Do you know what your problem is, Martine?" Tonight was a prime example. Family dinner with Tina's perfect siblings and their significant others all present and accounted for. Conrad, the thoracic surgeon, along with his wholesome and thoroughly pleasant and pregnant wife, Kitty. Kyle, the CEO of Jenson Pharmaceuticals, the family company, there with his husband, the always impeccably groomed and eminently likable Dumasani Jenson Sechaba. And finally, Smith, the youngest of her three older brothers, a disgustingly successful corporate attorney. He was there with his current lady friend, Mila, a chemical engineer. And then there was Tina, chronically single and working at a library, part-time. One could argue that because of the substantial inheritance she'd received from her paternal grandfather, she didn't really need to work. None of them did. But that would be frowned upon by their parents. Jensons earn their lifestyle. The words were practically the family motto, drilled into them since birth. None of this idle rich business that so many of their social peers embraced with open arms. "We're looking to hire a new hospital administrator," Conrad was saying, and Tina tried not to roll her eyes. "You should interview Martine." Seriously? She hadn't even finished college. Her brothers often seemed to conveniently forget how unqualified she was to do any of the jobs they kept suggesting she interview for. She frequently wondered if these lapses in memory were subtle jabs at her lack of further education. She sighed and tossed Conrad a glare before shifting her attention back to her chocolate mousse. She attacked it with single-minded focus, relishing the rich taste of the chocolate. So comforting, so familiar. Martine. Her parents never called her Tina. With the exception of Smith, none of her family did. "You don't mean to finish that entire dessert, do you?" Her mother's sharp and unwelcomed voice intruded into her private chocolate me time and jarred Tina out of her happy place. Her gaze shifted toward the older woman, and she could see how thoroughly repulsed her mother looked at the notion of Tina finishing the substantially sized mousse. And there it was, as if by clockwork, the other disappointment reared its ugly head. Their only daughter wasn't the perfect, svelte, gorgeous creature she should have been. That any child of Mercy and Patrick Jenson had turned out less than physically flawless could only be attributed to the mystery and horror of throwback genetics. Tina was short and overweight with pale, freckled skin and a shock of bright red hair. Not tall, willowy, blonde, and absolutely gorgeous like her mother, brothers, and father. The cuckoo in the nest, the odd one out. Physically lacking, intellectually ordinary, and, of course, the maker of huge, embarrassing, reputation-ruining and life-altering mistakes. Tina would never in a million years live up to family expectations, and she had stopped trying years ago. That didn't mean that these family gatherings didn't bother her, not when she always felt like a complete outsider. She pushed her mousse aside, and her mother nodded in satisfaction.